I've always been a Pennsylvania girl. I was born and raised in Sharon, Pennsylvania, on the western side of the state. Then I went to college at the University of Notre Dame and returned to Pennsylvania to attend Pitt Med School. And then I headed east, and I took my residency at Wills Eye Hospital. And while I was a resident, I realized I was really interested in studying cancers of the eye. Most people with eye cancers had their eye removed. And I thought, this is not right. We should be able to save these eyes. So I spent my entire career figuring out ways to preserve the eye if it had an eye cancer. Back when I was a resident, if you were a baby with retinoblastoma, your eye was removed. Now, your eye is not removed, your eye is saved, and many of these children have vision. I'll never forget this one family from Alabama where the baby came with cancers in both eyes. And the father said to me, "Thank you for taking the time from your children to help my son." And that just gave me shivers. I hope we see in the future that there will be a way that a person can check their own eye, with an app on their phone or by seeing a doctor, an ophthalmologist, who will do screening and catch things when they're small and send them in to the eye cancer specialist. I hope that I'm remembered for all the long and arduous hours of working, especially with the babies, to give them life, save their eye, and give them the gift of vision for life.
I don't know that I have a reason for being here. I think when we're born, we're all blessed with a mission in life that we don't understand through life, but we will one day. Very early on in the late 70s, I joined what was called the Women's Auxiliary of the American Cancer Society. And then I was given a position on the big board, we called it, and one of their goals was to find housing for families of patients who came to Pittsburgh. And it was actually a gift to me because my mom had just died 2 years before, and she lived with us for a while. My aunt lived with us for a while. And I knew well what a family, certainly what a patient goes through, but what a family goes through. So that's what led to the beginning of Family House. In the beginning, it was meant strictly for family members. And because there were so many, they could only stay for 30 days and they'd have to move out so another family could move in. Until one darling woman who had a 16-year-old son waiting for a liver transplant came to me and said, "Where am I going to go?" And I sat on the couch with her and I said, "Clearly we just changed the rules. You can stay as long as you want to stay." And that's how we made the guidelines. We just went as compassionately as people came to us. But in 1988, we built a house, and this brilliant cardiac transplant surgeon came to me and said, "Mary Lou, I think we can move a patient on an artificial heart into Family House." And in those days, the artificial heart, or the Novacor, was about the size of a half of a refrigerator, and it was on a cart. And an engineer had to wheel it alongside the patient. And we moved a young 16-year-old boy into the house with his mom and dad and his engineer to see this young man come in with his artificial heart and stay with his family. This wonderful 3-room suite was one of the most exciting days of my life, next to the birth of our children.
My whole life has been a wonderful journey. I'm from the South. I grew up in the 50s in the South, went to college in the South, and I went to Washington to work for Walter Mondale for 10 years in the United States Senate, and I was his executive assistant, and those were probably, the 10 most powerful and, incredible years of my life. I decided to get married and moved to Philadelphia and ended up, in this business of finding professional jobs for women. Diversified Search, yeah, and we're the largest woman-owned retained executive search firm in the world. We're in 10 cities throughout the country, and we have a partnership where we're in 30 countries and 60 cities around the world, and we have a board that runs that. So, we just have a wonderful organization of people, and we have passion about what we're doing, and it's all about people and making sure people are in the right positions, and hopefully more of them are women. It's just like, if you can open a door and help somebody at least have an opportunity, to go for their best. That's really what it's all about. And I think especially for women, to know they've got support of those of us that, have gone through that journey, and we know what that's all about. And we know the kind of support, that they need, and the right kind of support. And as we, enter this new phase of life, for all of us, and especially us as women, it's a crucial time now. We need to all come together and to try to help each other and to continue, the wonderful momentum that we've got going right now. And so I'm just so thrilled to be part of this group and do whatever I can to continue to make it a great organization. So very grateful.
I've been an entrepreneur for 40 years, but more than that, I've been an activist entrepreneur. So I've used my business as a vehicle for social change. And I think that probably the most important impact that the White Dog had was on our local food system. So I converted to all free-range chickens, all pastured pork, grass-fed beef, and then I looked at my menu and thought, wow, we've done it. We have a cruelty-free menu. So this is going to be our market niche. This is our competitive advantage. This is all about us. So from that point on, that's been my life, more than anything else, is to create sustainable local economies with locally, sustainably, organically grown food. And my focus now is on climate change, on the transition to renewable energy. So I started something called Proud Pennsylvania with a campaign to bring forward a vision for our state based on sustainable and just regional economies that produce our basic needs locally: food, fuel, and fiber. So Proud Pennsylvania has kind of a platform that includes the total legalization of hemp, and also moving a plan to move our state to 100% renewable, including a date by which fracking should be banned, statewide ban on fracking, and a statewide ban on pipeline construction. So that's part of Proud Pennsylvania. We want to be proud of our state. We want to be proud of the economy and the environment that we leave for future Pennsylvanians.
I grew up in Nazi Germany and have experienced firsthand what can happen when a lot of good people, wise people, sit by and don't do anything. And that's why, as an adult, I became very much involved with working for peace and justice. I joined the Women's International League for Peace and Freedom, an organization that was founded over 100 years ago, when women from many different countries, from warring countries, tried to stop World War I. When I came to Pittsburgh in 2001, the peace and justice community in Pittsburgh, especially the Thomas Merton Center, welcomed me with open arms, and they have been my support in supporting my work all through this time. We were instrumental in getting Pittsburgh to become a city for CEDAW, that is the Convention for the Elimination of All Discrimination Against Women. I have helped a lot of people understand, make them aware of the injustices and help them look at the world with more open eyes and more tolerance. And I hope I got people involved in wanting to do something.